What is inquiry? This is inquiry. Inquiry is not just asking questions, as it implies. Of course, it can be, but in this context that we speak about ending suffering and awakening into our true nature, inquiry is a very systematic way of asking deep questions and leading somebody, either yourself or somebody else, into direct experience or direct looking. And it's very different to simply answering these questions through your mind, which means thinking about it, trying to figure it out, intellectualizing. It's simply not there. Anything that's in the mind, anything it's where you have to use your intellect, your cleverness, it's all domain of a story, a timeline, a story, and often is full of assumptions and stories and expectations and hopes. And of course, there's nothing wrong with it because it's just the way it is. And of course, it's not your fault when we get stuck in our heads. It's just the way it is. However, with inquiry, with deep inquiry, we can be led to really see something very unexpected. There can be an inquiry into into collapsing those stories, assumptions, expectations we have in our life that really causes suffering, the self-images and false self-identities, or the self itself. This is just so exciting to even talk about it, and it's hard to put into words. But inquiry can also look into the illusions of space and time. I actually wrote a book about the illusion. It's more of a delusion of time that you can see in the description of this video. So I'm not gonna go too much in detail into that. But again, it's just something that we believe 100% and we have no control over it. We can't help it. It all lives in our thoughts and in our thinking. And when we confuse these illusions for truth, we suffer. We feel stressed. We feel, there's never enough time. There's too much to do, as you can find out in the book. And there is also an inquiry into, there can be an inquiry into pretty much anything, into space. Also, space is a belief. When we are led by direct pointing to really recognize what is true and what is just a belief, we recognize that even space is just a belief, and it's a recognition that there is no separation from anything. Whatever happens in inquiry, when we really recognize what there is, which is very unexpected, it also comes with sense of liberation, freedom, love, openness, new opportunities, gratitude, appreciation, just this peace or state of meditation, state of simply being without trying to control anything. And when I say without trying to control, it doesn't mean that we become a doormat. It's the other way around. We are able to really just be free in our thoughts, and our thoughts become very inspiring in just free-flowing, as opposed to overthinking and these attacking thoughts that are there trying to convince us and control us about something. So inquiry essentially leads to end of suffering and awakening. And the way how I could describe it is, because it's impossible to imagine, of course. It doesn't live in the realm of imagination. But for example, when I was little, we used to look at this book. It was called Magic Eye, I think. You have these pictures and they look like 2D. And when you look at them in a specific way, I think you kind of like look beyond them. these pictures that really look like meaningless colors and shapes, and you look at them in this specific way, and suddenly this 3D image just pops up. Do you know that? I hope so, because it's such a great analogy. And this is pretty much what happens in inquiry. Something that we believe 100% that is true about everything, about ourselves, about other people, all the stories, how things should be, and about time and about space and about the self. When it's recognized, it's just it's the opposite of this magic eye. It just collapses into its natural form, into its nature, and it's just like, whoa, I had no idea. It's just and it's not that you had to come up with something. It's not that you have to change something. It's not that you have to change people in your life and change jobs in your life and try to improve yourself and work on yourself hard or do some sort of intellectualizing or make more money and have more status. It's simply being recognized what was there all along. It's being recognized that there is really nowhere to go. We just don't have the right way of seeing things or the person, the false self-identity that lives in a deceptive timeline, a story, really cannot look. We simply don't look as the world as it is or at other people as they are. We simply look through the lens of all these beliefs and assumptions that we have, and we don't know. And when those assumptions and beliefs and stories and expectations are not there, we are able to see what is actually there. And what is actually there, it's just it can look like a Alice in the Wonderland, or it can simply look like nothing, or it's just liberating to see what's there. And when we speak about stories, about personal stories, so when we believe someone is hurting us in some way or someone is being unjust with us, and we have all this evidence for all these stories 100%, and other people also confirm it, and everything confirms it that we are right. But when that is being seen through inquiry, then it's unexpected, but we see what is there. And not only that, we are just free now, and we recognize that there is something that has been there the whole time. We just weren't able to see it. Also, we respond to situations and people in a completely different way, because when we function from that self-image, which is this false identity, when we function from that space and we believe someone is hurting us, we really have no choice but to hurt them also, and to hurt ourselves. And we do that in our thoughts. We often criticize ourselves, or we think that we are not good enough, or we are either inferior or superior, and it's just suffering and pain. And with inquiry, when we collapse the self-images and simply are left in our free nature, we are free to respond. So these attacking thoughts and overthinking, it just disappears, and all the problems that we thought we have to solve, it simply recognized that there is no problems, and they never were there at the first place. So if you have any more questions, you can go to my website to find out more about what inquiry is, and if you're ready to do some.